Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a journey. And it's actually a journey that happens completely out of sight, yet it securely protects the money in your bank account every single day. We are going to demystify the complex financial technology hiding right inside your smartphone, and we'll show you exactly how contactless payments work under the hood. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to be covering the pull model, tokenization, what's inside the vault, the magic of the tap, and finally, privacy and the payoff. Part 1, the flaw of plastic cards, or what's known as the pull model. Think about it. What actually happens in the 3 seconds after you tap your phone to pay for a coffee? Most of us, we just wait for that little green check mark, grab our drink, and don't give it a second thought. But behind that tiny tap, there's this incredible hidden global relay race happening, and it's all designed to keep your money safe. To understand how contactless payments like Apple Pay and Google Wallet actually pull this off for us non-techies, we first kind of have to understand why this technology had to be invented in the first place. For decades, our traditional payment methods have relied on a fundamental and honestly a pretty terrifying vulnerability. Handing over a real plastic credit card to a merchant or typing its numbers into a website is essentially like giving a complete stranger your social security number just to buy a sandwich, right? It's crazy. This is known as the pull model. The merchant literally needs your actual primary account number, your PAN, to pull the funds from your account. The massive danger here is that they store your real number in their databases. If a retailer's database gets hacked, millions of real card numbers get stolen. Now contrast that with a mobile wallet. That hands the merchant a completely useless alias. If hackers breach the merchant, they get absolutely nothing of value. Which brings us to part 2, tokenization, also known as your digital alias. This brilliant substitution brings us to the very first magical shield in our journey. It's the core technical concept that hides your real identity. Tokenization is basically the process of substituting your sensitive primary account number with a non-sensitive equivalent. We call this a token. It has literally no exploitable meaning or value. Think of a token like a digital alias or a nickname. It looks and acts exactly like a normal credit card number to a cash register, but it's totally fake. There is no mathematical algorithm that a criminal can use to reverse engineer your real card number from this token. No way. So, how does this alias actually get onto your phone? Let's walk through it together. First, you scan or submit your card info to Apple. Apple then securely routes this data straight over to your bank. Your bank then reaches out to a token service provider, usually a major payment network like Visa or MasterCard. Now, instead of sending your real info back, this provider locks your actual card number in a highly secure vault on their end and magically generates your token. Apple calls this a device account number, or a DAN. Finally, this brand new, completely unique DAN is sent back to your device. The amazing part here? Your real card number never, ever actually lives on your phone. All right, let's move to part 3, inside the device vault. If your real card isn't on your phone, where exactly does this new digital alias live? Well, let's shift our focus to the physical hardware. Your token is stored in something called the secure element. This is a tamper-resistant certified chip embedded directly in your smartphone, and it's specifically designed to safely host confidential cryptographic data. You can think of it as a microscopic titanium vault. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that this vault is completely isolated from the rest of your phone's operating system, like iOS, and it is never backed up to iCloud. It is so locked down that even Apple cannot read the data inside it. But, a vault is pretty useless if just anyone can open it, right? The only way to unlock this secure element to authorize a payment is through your physical presence. Biometrics, things like Face ID, Touch ID, or your personal passcode, are the exclusive keys to the vault. If a thief steals your phone, they can't just tap it at a store because they don't have your fingerprint or your face. And that brings us to part 4, the magic of the tap. Now, what's really interesting about this is what happens right at the checkout counter, during that literal tap, and that split-second transmission of data. To prevent someone from just wirelessly copying your token while you tap, the secure element generates what's called a dynamic cryptogram. This is a one-time, totally unique number generated for each specific transaction. It uses your token, a special token key, and the transaction amount. It essentially acts as a one-time secret handshake. Back in the old days, a hacker could skim your magnetic stripe and just replay that exact data to buy things. But with a dynamic cryptogram, every single transaction request can only be used once. Replay attacks are completely dead. Let's see how this builds to that incredible illusion of speed. Step 1, your phone sends the token and that one-time cryptogram via a contactless NFC tap.
Step 2, the merchant sends it to their acquirer bank, which is really just the store's bank. Step 3, the acquirer passes it to the payment network, acting as the token's service provider. They validate the secret handshake, translate your alias back to your real card number, and forward it to your issuer bank, the bank that actually gave you the card. Step 4, your bank authorizes the real card and replies with an approval. All of that communication zips around the entire globe in under 3 seconds. Isn't that wild?
So what if the worst happens and you lose your phone? Well, because your real credit card number was never on the device to begin with, you don't need to panic and cancel all your physical plastic cards. You just use Find My to place your device in lost mode. This instantly suspends the tokens. Your physical plastic cards sitting in your real wallet, they'll still work perfectly fine. Let's look at part 5, privacy and the payoff. Now, let's pivot to the business side of things. Let's explore who actually sees what data and how the massive financial ecosystem supports this technology. Apple actually has a very strict privacy stance here. As their own support documents explicitly state, Apple doesn't store the original credit, debit, or prepaid card numbers. Apple doesn't retain any transaction information that can be tied back to you. When you buy something, that purchase history stays strictly between you, the merchant, and your bank. Apple is definitely not building a profile on your shopping habits to sell to advertisers. So, the crucial point is, if Apple isn't tracking your purchases or selling your data, how do they actually make money from providing this highly complex service? The answer lies in the fascinating breakdown of credit card fees. Every time you use a credit card, the merchant pays a fee, often around a 2% discount rate. Let's look at how that pie is traditionally sliced up. The lion's share, about 1.7%, goes to the issuer bank as an interchange fee. The payment network, like Visa or MasterCard, takes a flat fee, let's say 10 cents. The acquirer bank takes about 20 cents. But here is the really interesting part. Apple Pay actually takes its cut directly from the issuer bank's share. And that cut is a surprisingly tiny 0.15% of the transaction. The merchant doesn't pay this extra fee. You, the consumer, don't pay this. The issuer bank gladly hands over a fraction of their own interchange fee to Apple. And this brilliantly illustrates why the whole system works. Banks gladly pay Apple 0.15% because tokenization and biometrics drastically slash their fraud expenses. By using that microscopic titanium vault and that one-time secret handshake we talked about, the massive costs associated with stolen credit cards are practically eliminated. The banks are actually saving a fortune in fraud payouts by giving Apple this small cut. It's a win-win. It is absolutely amazing how much engineering happens in the blink of an eye. So the next time you grab a coffee and tap your phone, will you think about the invisible global relay of digital aliases and dynamic cryptograms protecting your money? It is so easy to take for granted, but the technology sitting right in your pocket is nothing short of a modern financial marvel.